Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the channel here today, and this is probably going to be one of the better theory videos I make here today, because this is something that I've been asked since episode 3 to do, as today I'm going to be discussing what The Walking Dead: A New Frontier could have been. And what do I mean by this? There was a ton of cut content, stuff that was supposed to happen that didn't, stuff that was in the game originally, but Telltale decided it was not good or wasn't fitting into their motion of thoughts. But today I'm going to be discussing what I believe it could have been based on if this cut content was never cut. And you know, there's many instances. Again, I'm going to be linking the AMA I talked about, because they talk about a lot of cut content in it, and I'm going to be explaining that, as well as we're going to be talking about specific details. This is get your popcorn, chill back. This is going to be a long video. I'm going to be explaining a lot of things here, so please guys, if you are new, please make sure you leave that like and subscribe, guys. Let's go for 500 likes on this video. If you guys could go vote on the straw poll down below, I would appreciate that. In this video, we're going to be discussing trailer stuff. We're going to be discussing the reveal trailer, which was one of the things. We're going to be discussing the Slaughterhouse. We're going to be discussing the Clementine Flashbacks and more. There is a ton of stuff here. So again, like I said, sit back, relax. Make sure to go vote in the straw poll down below. Make sure to leave a like, leave a comment what you think about this, and let's get straight into it. So first, guys, we're going to start with the trailer here, guys. I'm going to show you the original trailer here, and then we'll explain. I'm going to go through everything here, a lot of aspects, and then we'll go to the AMA eventually. But I'm going to start with the trailer here, guys, so make sure to watch the trailer here, and then we're going to talk about it a little after. This was the reveal trailer for The Walking Dead: New Frontier. Basically, I'm going to explain what it should have been based on this. Alright, peace.
That one was Mark II. We must be getting close. Just hold on.
Alright, so folks, that was the trailer. Remember the reveal trailer? That was at the beginning. They had this all planned out. I mean, obviously, every episode they do make changes. It kind of happens. That's how it usually pans out. But this was originally what the story was supposed to be. And there's a ton of screenshots here. I'm going to show you that. I'll give you some more information and stuff. But if you remember correctly in that trailer, if you looked, Javier was branded with the 76ers. Now, Dom, do you think that was never answered? It was actually answered in this AMA. I'm going to show you the response that a person at Telltale said to this and what this is supposed to be. Now, obviously, Javier had a different voice. He didn't have a beard, and he had the 76ers. So a lot was changed. I believe this was Richmond. So maybe this was more of a rescue mission sort of thing. But let me show you guys here. See the 76 on his neck right there? That was originally supposed to be. Clem also looked a little different. They obviously changed the character models and stuff. But let me explain to you guys here what it is. So, here we go. Alright, so folks, this was the AMA thing I've been talking about. I'm going to link this all down below in the description if you guys want to go check it out. But this basically is when, like I said again, the creators, they are answering questions from viewers here. So guys, this is basically what, can give us an explanation on this. I linked this in another video. Again, I'll link it down below in the description. But basically, they explain a lot of stuff here and what have cut content and all that. But this kind of has to do with the real trailer. So, originally, there was talk about Javier being branded, like I said earlier, and his, being different and all that, and what their mission was. So here's what they asked. So before the season released, a clip at E3 showed a branded Javier with Clem by his side, getting close to something. What was this about? And please, if the answer is the clip was not represented, does this mean that the game only started actually being written after E3. Pre-release advertising also talk about some quest for vengeance and Clem and Javier needing each other, having common goals, and already having some sort of preset bond. I don't think I saw any of this through the season. What happened? This is, whoever asked this question, amazing question, because this is basically what I thought too. What the heck? was, you know, the reveal trailer, it did show that bond that they had. It looked like they already had that close together, and they looked like they were going after somebody, because we're getting close. We must be getting close. Javier said we're getting close. Getting close to what? What were they going after? So, person here, Alyssa from Telltale, she says, there was an earlier version of the story where Javi was forced to join the New Frontier group and branded against his will in order to prove his trustworthiness / earn his place. He escaped, but still needed to retrieve his family, David, Gabe, and Mari, from the New Frontier captors, which aligned his goals with Clementine and her search for AJ. Development started with this version of the story, but once the first version of on screen did not feel authentic walking to the story, from there a rewrite process started that ended up the version of the game we shifted. There was indeed more story and gameplay about the other habits of Richmond, an early version of the finale episode that ultimately ended up getting cut, which was basically all these decisions that were being leaked before episode 5 release, which I never luckily saw. But guys, holy shit! I'm not saying I wouldn't. I would have loved this way more than the original. Telltale, I still love you, but my God, this would have been insane. So, what that trailer I showed you about 2 minutes ago showed us was that Javier was going back after being branded against his will by Joan, Clint, whatever, the New Frontier and all that. His job with Clementine was to go back into Richmond. Now, here's the funny thing. What would have happened with Conrad, Tripp, Eleanor, Jesus? I bet you we would have probably ran into him sometime at the beginning. I probably would have ran into him on the way to there. Maybe we would have stopped at Prescott still, but maybe we would have been like exiled, you know, driven off somewhere. But to think of this would have been, I would have loved this. You had Clem and Javier going not hand in hand, but like as a team going after to save everyone, and you would have had no Gabe, no Kate, no David. They all would have been held captive. So at the beginning, we would have gotten some crazy scene like Javier getting kicked out of Richmond, or him getting branded. We actually maybe would have been able to see that, which actually would have been nuts. And then they both would have been going after. And then, like I said again, they didn't feel this was good enough. But to think that the entire season could have been, instead of us, you know, just going, you know, running into frickin' the New Frontier and the frickin' grave or the junkyard and all that, and then getting carried over, then them attacking Prescott, etc., going over, finding Dave and all that. There could have been a completely different version where we started there, got kicked out, and we had to go back in and save everybody. Probably, I don't know how different it could have been. The story would have been way different. To think about that, I mean, I don't know. I don't even know how, you know, what the ending would have gone, but that would have been nuts. I don't even know if originally their plan was also to save AJ, but to think about that, this statement here, oh my goodness, this statement, Javi was forced to join the New Frontier group, branded against his will and prove his trustworthy. Like, this is good stuff right here. But again, I ain't gonna judge. Telltale, you know, I'm not gonna judge. They made a decision to get rid of it. They didn't feel it was good enough. I thought it would be good enough, but again, like I said again, it's their decision. I'm not gonna fault them for it. Like I said, there's always things that are gonna be cut out, but this would have been. I thought this would have been amazing. I think, but like I said again, I credit Telltale. It wasn't like I said. Season 3 is not the worst season ever. I mean, you know, I mean, it's not the best. Obviously, season 1, season 2 are better. I think it's better than Michonne, at least. We could say that. But Michonne's not really counted as season, it's DLC. But there's definitely, you know, there was room for improvement here, folks. And like I said again, a lot of stuff was cut out, and this was at E3. So, and remember, the New Frontier, the E3 was about, like I said, in June, and the New Frontier, remember, came out in December, I believe, right? So in only about 6-7 months, they had to completely rewrite the story. So there might, if there was plot holes, that was probably the reason why, because they had already a complete story set up with this Clem, Javier gets branded, let's go save David, Gabe, and Kate, and let's have Clem try to find AJ, which is, you know, that they didn't feel was authentic. That's the only reason why. So, like I said again, what do you guys think of that? Leave that down below in the comments, because that's pretty nuts. Alright, so we're going to be talking about the Slaughterhouse here. This was something that was really supposed to be in the game during episode 1, and this was going to be insane. We're basically going into a slaughterhouse full of zombies here, which would have been actually really, really cool. I would have actually loved this scene. But there's some things that go down here that actually were explained and it was part of the cutout content again. Telltale did explain a little bit about what was supposed to happen, so here I'm going to explain. I want to give a shout out to In Cold Blood. He made a video basically explaining about this good video. If you have not seen it yet, again, he basically goes in video. He's made 2 of these videos. I've checked them both out. Very, very well made videos. I'll link his video down below in the description, as well as the channel. I sure will leave him a sub. But basically what I wanted to show you here is stuff that Telltale said, and I'm going to explain based on Cold Blood's video and what I've also seen, some other facts that or stuff that was cut out from the Slaughterhouse, as well as other things. So let's get straight into that. Hopefully you guys do enjoy. Now we discussed the Slaughterhouse. This was something that everybody, I believe, wanted into the story. This was something that was supposed to happen in the original episode 1, and I don't think it would have gone to episode 2. But this is, I believe, where Javier and Clem would have met in the original version of the story, where, again, David, Gabe, and Kate were in Richmond being held captive, and Clem was still on the hunt for AJ. So a lot of stuff could have happened here, and I actually have some information on what would have happened, because from the video with Cold Blood and some other stuff from the AMA, I was able to figure out a little more based on what they said about what would have happened. So originally, like I said again, this is where Clem and Javier were supposed to meet. There was a ton of stuff that had been cut out, and basically what there was is that there were a bunch of sounds that were on the game files. There was a shootout that was supposed to happen where I believe Lonnie could have died. Javier would kill him accidentally in the gunfight, and then Max would have to put him out of his misery by shooting him in the ear or the throat. And then we also had Clem and Javier having to work together here as they first met, like I said, and getting out together, and then probably setting a plan to go save everyone and then find all their lost loved ones. And then also Max, remember him being a determinate character in the actual New Frontier storyline, but in the original one that was scrapped, he was supposed to be a non-determinate character who you could either kill him or leave him. Similarly to like Badger, so it seemed like they changed him and Badger's roles. And again, Mariana in the actual story here, if I show you here, I believe there was a comment here, where is it? Mariana died in a different way across the roads, but she always had a finite lifespan in the story. There's an early version of the story where Javi came upon a turned Mariana behind the trailer. So in the actual finite story version, but didn't include the Slaughterhouse, she was supposed to die a lot earlier, which actually I wanted to state because in another comment, I believe, I don't know where it was, I think it was, I don't think it was here, but there was an original scene with Mariana where she was supposed to die in the Slaughterhouse, but that was scrapped. And again, like I said, what I just mentioned, that was scrapped too, but instead they gave us more time with her, which was nice. And the reason why they said the Slaughterhouse was cut out of the game is that we cut content for a lot of reasons. Sometimes because it's an idea, works on paper, but falls flat interactively. First version of our episode tells a lot about what we need to hone and polish. But they basically, yada yada, they said here that it didn't really fit to what they thought was The Walking Dead. Didn't fit the style and stuff. But it's, like I said again, I would have loved this, but I respect Telltale for the decision. But the fact that we already had screenshots and stuff, that's kind of really disappointing to not to have this picture here, not to have this Slaughterhouse. It would have been nice to have it because, I mean, it looks so cool. It would have been a really cool thing to have, but having all these different characters that end up being determined or not dying in the end would have actually been interesting instead of having them just, I don't know. We'll see. But like that's the thing, and that was for the freaking Slaughterhouse. Unfortunately, all I could find though was like that would have been pretty cool. There would have been a shootout, zombie sounds, Lonnie being a determinate character, Lonnie actually dying no matter what. He would have not been determinate. Max would have also not been determinate. They both would have been finite characters, as well as Badger was supposed to replace the role of what's his face, Rufus in the van in episode 1. So I don't know if again, that's in the after version, though, but I don't know if Badger would have been the one that died. Maybe Rufus would have been the one that shot Mariana then. Because a lot would have changed. Like I said, there was many different versions of this game that were written. So, again, if you people don't feel this season was the best, it could have done with the fact that they had to change the story a lot. So that's basically the Slaughterhouse. Leave me what you guys think about that, because this is actually one of the most depressing parts for me personally on why it wouldn't happen, but it is what it is. Alright, so we're moving on to the Clem flashback. Here we go. So, based on this, we have the Clementine flashback. Now, this was something that was supposed to be in episode 1. Now, no, episode 5 was never supposed to have a flashback, even though it was the only episode without one. It was never initially planned that Telltale was supposed to do an episode 5 flashback, even though I thought, and other people thought, even though we found out before the episode, that there was a cut flashback. Now, this flashback was supposed to be a flashback involved with Clementine and the babysitter Sandra. Now, note here, I'm going to link an article down below in the description that describes this, but basically what they said, somebody asked a question saying, was it a recreation of the one that they showed in the season 2 episode 5 show? And the person from Telltale lists again, she said yes. So this flashback was supposed to be involved with Clem and Sandra on the first day of the apocalypse, remember, right before Lee shows up. And this is basically, they're talking here. Looks like she talks to her mom here in the flashback, and it ends up being that Sandra, you actually could see Sandra end up dying here, because there are actual scenes from, again, Cold Blood's video again that show Sandra. They don't supposedly show Sandra, but they show the kind of scene, and even though it's in Clem's body, they show the scene with Sandra dying. So you actually, playing as Clem here, you can witness Sandra dying, which actually would have been really cool to find this out, because this is season 1. This is OG stuff. This is stuff I really would have wanted. This is stuff that, it would have been perfect for the story, and I thought, would have been fit well. But again, this was supposed to be right at the beginning, though. Instead of having that Kenny Jane flashback, maybe they would have had that later on in episode 2. But I don't know what the other flashbacks would have been if this was the planned episode 1 flashback. So she said, Alyssa said again, yes, through indoors and playable, not raccoon base. The call would have been a little later in the timeline, but before the phone messages. Remember, the phone messages were right when Lee came over, and where she called, Clementine, answer the phone, it's 911, when they say that when Lee goes over to the phone after he gets into the yard and gets in the house. So that would have been probably about, who knows, an hour or two before. It would not have been that long before. And would have turned out this would have been the last time Clementine would have been able to talk to her mother, which actually would end up probably saying the final words, as they said right here. Well, one of our goals of the flashback was to give control over that exacting the player, which was saying Clem's last word to her parents, and you could have been in control of that, which actually is very, it's sad, man, but it is what it is. This flashback, like I said again, you would have been able to witness Sandra dying. You would have been able to talk to Clem's mother, and who knows? I think this would have been, it could have stopped right before the part where Lee showed up, which actually would have been nuts. What if they actually had a Lee appearance? Was not actually mentioned here, but you never know. Could have happened, but I think the part would have probably ended with Clem going up to her treehouse after she sees Sandra getting eaten up by the zombie, and probably ended up almost turning. So that's when she probably ended up running to the treehouse. Now, like I said again, Cold Blood's video, you guys need to check it out, please, if you haven't already. There is different kind of scenes and stuff about certain stuff that's in it. I can't really explain it all, but you need to go to that video again if you haven't already to go check it out. But there are many scenes, they show scenes in terms of character actions, as well as certain images that could have been in it. Alright, but basically that would have been some of the coolest stuff, I thought, in terms of the episode, having this, this flashback. Again, people thought, oh, Dom, it could have been episode 5. It was not supposed to be the episode 5 flashback. Actually, they even mentioned this AMA thing here. It was initially planned to be the episode 1 flashback. They said right here, there was a flashback of Clem and her babysitter in episode 1 where she had a phone call with her mom from Atlanta. Basically, that was the whole plan of it. And like I said again, there were other miscellaneous things I found here, so let me discuss that right now. Here's the miscellaneous stuff. So guys, originally there was supposed to be, like I said again, Lingard was supposed to be a guy named Mason, who was supposed to be the leader of the New Frontier. That was basically what he was supposed to be. Then there was a guy who stabbed Javi. The guy who stabbed Javi in episode 4. He was supposed to be some like guy Javier could have communicated with, instead of like, you know, having him just stab him and never say a single word. That guy was like a silent assassin, I swear to God. Kate was originally not supposed to be Kate. She was some other girl. I don't remember the exact name of her, but she was a blonde girl, as far as I know, and that would have been different. And then there's many character descriptions here that were different. Even a different version where Joan and Eleanor ended up being related. That's crazy to think about right there. Joan and Eleanor being related. The snakes would have been together right there, but it's literally nuts to think that all this could have happened, you know. I mean, final thoughts here, folks. Like I said again, there were also leaked choices. Again, if I remember, I mentioned that correctly. There were leaked choices. And like I said again, this is something I never really looked up. I had heard about, though people always had mentioned this in the comments. I never really, you know, thank God I never really found them out. But there was supposed to be this of basically executing Joan or exiling Joan, keeping Joan in Richmond, returning Joan's supplies, or keeping Joan's supplies, as Clint suggested. So basically, they said here there was indeed more story and gameplay about the other inhabitants of Richmond in an earlier version of the finale episode that ultimately ended up on the cutting room. So episode 4 and 5 were originally supposed to be completely different, as there was a scene where you can go to a bunker in the sewers where David had an old hideout, which actually interesting. This was all episode 4 and 5 were completely rewritten. They were not set in stone, and that's actually the crazy thing to think about, how much different how this season could have ended had it never been completely rewritten like it had been. I don't know. It would have been very interesting, guys, because I don't know. We could add different outcomes, different characters living, different characters dying. I don't know if their original plan was to, you know, have all these determinate characters at the end. But like I said again, they said, what we do know, and this is a good note to end the video here, what we do know is that these stories aren't over. And the future of the Richmond folks will develop based on the starting point that the players created in this season. So like I said again, despite you not wanting to see Javier, people, I understand, Javier, Kate, David, Gabe, and all that, we are going to see them. I'm telling you right now, and this is, like I said again, will develop based on the starting point the players create in the season. So, like I said again, this is going to all lead into the season 4. We're not done with Javier yet. We're definitely not. We're definitely done playing with him. Elo is the main playable character. But we're not done with him in terms of the story. I believe this is just like I said. Either the Clem thing is going to be DLC or it is going to be season 4. I think it's season 4 set in stone, but we'll see. But guys, that has been the video here. If you guys have any questions, I didn't go over every exact thing, but in the AMA they talked about a lot of cut stuff, the character descriptions, etc. But basically, I explained the Clementine flashbacks. There was a lot of audio scenes cut out. I mean, not really anything too significant. There was the Slaughterhouse, like I mentioned, and the teaser trailer. All this stuff would have been, I think, in my opinion, a better thing in terms of the story. But like I said, I ain't going to judge Telltale for what they did. You know, obviously, they felt what they did was best, so I'm not going to judge them for it. But that has been my video here, guys. Again, if you guys can leave a like, let's go again for 500 likes. Please, we can vote on the straw poll. And hopefully you guys did enjoy this video. I wanted to put a lot of effort into. I definitely spent over about 2.5 hours, 3 hours making this video. So, if you guys could definitely leave a like, I will really appreciate it. And thank you guys again. I'll see y'all in the next video. Peace out.